steal a jacket that's not yours? Totally blew the joke. It's how do you take a coat that's not yours, you jack it, but I messed that up. So hopefully, microphone check, good? Okay, perfect. All right, we're ready. All right, Mark, I'll count us down. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Totten. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Michigan. I just want to say thanks, first of all, to Chief Abrams here at Benton Township Police Department for hosting us and, of course, for the department's incredible work on this case. I also want to say thank you to all of you for being here. This is an important case. We're glad you're covering it. And I want to say thanks to all of my partners, many of whom are standing behind us and whom I will introduce shortly. Today I am announcing federal charges against Darnell Bishop, age 33, and Dontrell Nance, age 25, both of Berrien County. These charges stem from the theft of 123 firearms from Dunham Sports in Benton Harbor, Michigan, which occurred late in the evening of Thursday, November 16th, and continued into the early morning hours of the next day. Let me identify the specific charges. I will also summarize the allegations that we're making. My partners will say a few things, and then happy to take a few questions at the end. So both defendants in this case are charged with 4 federal crimes, and I'll just run through them. Count 1 is for robbery affecting interstate commerce. It carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. Count 2 is for brandishing a firearm during a crime of violence, which carries a mandatory minimum of 7 years consecutive to any other sentence that ends up being imposed in this manner. Count 3 is for theft of firearms from a federal firearms licensee, and count 4 is for knowingly possessing stolen firearms. Let me turn now to the allegations that you will find in our complaint. I think all of you have a copy of that, or we do have hard copies, which we can get to you at the end. At 2 a.m. on Friday, November 17th, the Benton Township Police Department received a 911 call from the store manager of Dunham Sports. He told the police that at approximately 9:55 p.m. on Thursday, November 16th, 2 unknown people approached him outside his Benton Harbor home, held him at gunpoint, then blindfolded, handcuffed, and placed him in the back of his own car. The defendants then drove the manager to an unknown area and threatened the manager with a gun to his head until the manager disclosed the passcode for the security system at the sports store and told them how to access it. The manager explained that one of the subjects then left the area while the other subject continued to hold the manager against his will. Surveillance footage from Dunham Sports Store showed that at about 10:40 p.m. on November 16th, a male entered the store and disabled the alarm system. He then secured 2 large blue Yeti coolers with wheels and loaded them full of handguns. He left the store with one of the coolers at approximately 11:08 p.m. and returned for the other cooler at approximately 11:52 p.m. and then left with the other cooler a few minutes later. A later ATF audit revealed that 123 handguns were missing. Law enforcement moved carefully but swiftly with their investigation, which included the following. One of the defendants allegedly used Cash App to try and send money from the manager's debit card to another Cash App account. Although that transfer failed, likely because of a misspelling, the attempt helped lead authorities to Dontrell Nance. This lead allowed law enforcement to begin surveillance of Nance at his place of residence. Investigators observed Nance with another male who they identified as Darnell Bishop, Nance's brother. Subsequently, law enforcement observed Nance, Bishop, and a third unknown male at another location. The suspects stood near a red Dodge Durango, and when they opened the truck, law enforcement observed 2 coolers with sales tags still affixed to them and appearing consistent with the stolen Blue Yeti coolers. With this strong start to their investigation, law enforcement were soon able to arrest both defendants. Police then executed a search warrant for the residences and the vehicles associated with the defendants and were able to locate all but one of the 123 stolen firearms from Dunham Sports. As the complaint alleges, both defendants were later interviewed after agreeing to waive their Miranda rights. Nance told investigators that he was part of the robbery, saying that he stayed with the manager while Bishop went to get the firearms from Dunham's. Bishop also admitted that he was part of the robbery, said he previously cased Dunham's and followed the manager in preparation for the robbery. Said he pointed a gun at the manager during the robbery and subsequently took the guns from Dunham Sports. What I have shared with you, of course, here are allegations. As you know, the accused are innocent until proven guilty in our system. That burden lies upon us and my team, and we fully intend to make our case. I also want to be very clear about the seriousness of these allegations. It is no secret that we are experiencing an epidemic of gun violence across the nation, across the state of Michigan, and right here in Benton Harbor as well. Fueling this epidemic is a massive influx of illegal guns into our communities. What happened at Dunham Sports on the evening of November 16th is a striking example of what is driving this crisis, and we fully intend to satisfy our burden and prove this case. In closing, I just want to say thanks to all of our law enforcement partners who moved with both incredible care and incredible speed to bring us to where we are today. In particular, I want to thank the following agencies: the Benton Charter Township Police Department, the Michigan State Police, FBI Michigan, ATF Michigan, the Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety. I'm glad to have Chief McGinnis here today. The Berrien County Sheriff's Office, glad to have the Sheriff's Office represented here, and the Berrien County Prosecutor's Office, Jeff Taylor, who's the Chief Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, is here as well. I now want to turn it over to a few of my partners. They will say a few words, and at the end, I'm happy to take a few questions. I'll ask them to come up in this order. I'll just read through the order so you know who's coming. We'll start with Detective Sergeant Tyler Tiefenbach from the Benton Township Police Department, followed by Ryan Schoonfeld, MSP 5th District Inspector, followed by Pete Ellis, the Acting Assistant Special Agent in Charge at FBI Michigan, followed by Jimmy Deere, who is the Special Agent in Charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. With that, I will turn it over to Detective Sergeant Tyler.
Thanks, Mark, and thank you all for being here. And I'm going to keep it brief. I think the main thing you're going to hear from a lot of the partners behind me is how well teamwork occurred. I received the call at home at 3 a.m. that night, and I would say by 7, 8 o'clock I had a representative from local, state, and federal agencies, which gave us a huge advantage in moving forward. As you know, this area, Mark touched on it a little bit, gun violence is a pretty serious thing, and the fact that we were able to get apprehensions and recovery of the guns so quickly was a huge success. Had these guns gotten out into the streets, it would have been very detrimental. So again, I want to thank everybody, all of you, for being here, being patient. I know when we send out brief summaries of what happened. There's a lot of questions. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the help we received from state police, ATF, FBI, Benton Harbor, Berrien County, and everyone else involved. So thank you.
Could you please have you spell your name? I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Tyler, and then TIE, F as in Frank, EN, B as in boy, ACH. Thank you.
How do you say it?
Tiefenbach.
Hello, I'm Ryan Schoonveld, the Assistant District Commander of the Michigan State Police, 5th District, which is the southwest corner of the state. That's SCHOONVELD. I also just want to say how proud I am of the group here that worked together. I'm proud to represent the Michigan State Police, the investigators that helped out in this situation. They really worked quickly and just did an awesome job. We're really fortunate down in this area in southwest Michigan to have great partnerships where we can work together and accomplish things in such a quick manner. Berrien County law enforcement had a tough week. We had an officer shot last week in Township, and we all got together, worked together to be together as a group and really accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. We're just thankful for our group here and thankful for the support of our community. Thanks.
Hey, afternoon. I'm Peter Ellis. Last name's Ellis. I'm the Acting Assistant Special Agent in Charge for the FBI in the Western District of Michigan. So I want to start by commending all our law enforcement partners here and their teams, especially their teams whose quick reaction to this investigation was able to identify, locate, and prevent these weapons from ever reaching the street. Did this to protect the community and the citizens. Also want to, let this, the community know that the FBI is going to continue working with our law enforcement partners to combat violent crime to protect the community. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Deere, D-E-I-R. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for ATF Michigan. First and foremost, the partnership, I think everybody's talked about it. It was phenomenal to see this in action. It was phenomenal to see state, federal, local, all join together with their resources and go after a common good, common problem here. These types of investigations are a consistent threat to public safety within the community. Just look at the firepower on this table. You've got 100 guns that were headed to the streets of Grand Rapids, to the streets of Detroit, Lansing, Benton Harbor, across the state. Just think about it. That is amazing if you think about just where these guns are headed and the damage they were looking that they could potentially do in our communities. ATF is committed to our partners within the firearms industry. These are our bank robbery investigations. All resources for ATF are on display when we have an FFL get robbed and or burglarized. While tempting, there's over $100,000 worth of guns here. While tempting this may be for criminals, you can bet that our partnerships with the Michigan State Police, the FBI, the Benton Harbor Township Police Department will bring certain consequences to people. They'll be swift, certain, and severe in cases like this. Because, again, this is our bank robbery. The FBI are the experts with the bank robbery investigations. This is ATF's bank robbery investigation. That's how serious it is. So anybody in the community that has the temptation to target and victimize anybody who is a law-abiding person engaged in the sale of firearms, this is the consequence of your actions. This will occur every time you do it. So I would plead to the public that if you know folks that are planning these types of events, or if you hear of it, you call your local ATF office and or the Michigan State Police and or any of these law enforcement agencies and give them a tip and or Crime Stoppers. Because in the end, we have got to prevent this type of firepower getting into the illegal hands that they were headed. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, with that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take a few.
Did you say Phillips and Nance were brothers?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Are they the owners of the red truck, or?
We have not said anything specifically about ownership of the vehicle in our criminal complaint, and I need to limit myself at this point to what we have in our criminal complaint, so I can't add anything on that at the moment.
Do you know what would be your estimate as to exactly how long it took, I guess, or how short a time it took to catch these guys?
Let me see, Tyler, you wanna speak to that?
I can't give an exact time, but we received the call just after 2 a.m., and I can say by 2 p.m., we had the firearms recovered and suspects apprehended.
Mark, you talked about one of the two, if not both, cased surveillance, the manager leading up to the theft. How long did they monitor and study the manager and his actions before they decided to move forward with that?
Yes, so we've alleged in the criminal complaint that we filed today that there was some casing by at least one of them that happened in advance. We haven't said anything further about kind of the extent of that casing, when it happened, how far in advance it happened. I need to hold off on going into any of those details for now.
And that third unknown male, is there any reason to believe he was involved or whatsoever?
So all we can say at this point is that the investigation is ongoing.
Was the store manager harmed at all? How is he doing now?
You know, we're very careful about what we say about victims in this case. I think you can imagine that for anybody that went through this kind of experience, that was held at gunpoint, you know, they probably had to imagine if they were going to come out of this alive, it would be a traumatic experience for anyone. You know, I don't want to speak about this particular individual at this point because I don't have permission to do that, but I think we can all appreciate that this would just be an incredibly traumatic experience for anyone who went through it.
With the two who admitted to these crimes, did they give exact specifics on what they would have carried out if they were with these guns?
We haven't not said anything about their motivations. It's not a necessary element that we need to prove to establish guilt for these 4 crimes. You know, there may be in the course of these proceedings as we, you know, move through the conviction stage, if a conviction is achieved and we move through the sentencing stage, there may be more information that comes out in that respect, but at this point, that's not something that we're speaking to.
Any last questions?
Anything like this?
What's that?
Is this one of the larger halls? Have you ever seen anything like this? I know as
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll defer to SACD. I certainly, you know, I think it's certainly the case that this falls on the larger end, certainly of anything we've experienced around here. But SACD, anything you want to add?
This is pretty typical of robberies involving federally licensed firearms dealers, where folks go in, they target it, and they execute a plan with, you know, coolers or whatever it is. Loading, usually they target the handguns and load them up, and these are easily sold on the streets. There is a huge market by prohibited persons, felons, mentally defective folks, illegal aliens. There's a whole litany of folks who can't buy these legally. So there is a black market out there. All of these guns, you can safely assume, in investigations like this, my experience, these were headed to the streets. These were headed for quick sale, quick money. It's the holidays, it's the happy season, everybody needs money. And they thought this would be in cases like this, folks think this is an easy score, right? You're looking at almost $100,000 worth of guns on the street. So when you look at that, in my training experience, that's where these guns were headed. These guns were headed to folks that are mandated by law not to have firearms.
Any last question? What happens to the firearms now? Will they all be destroyed?
The FFL is a victim of a crime. The FFL, these guns will be returned to them, unless their insurance company pays them out for it, and then they will be destroyed.
Can you say how much of their inventory from the store is this? What we see?
I don't think I know that. Does anyone else?
Are you?
What percentage, what roughly this represents? I'm not sure the answer to that question.
Yeah, no, obviously there aren't any long guns here. but there were 123 taken, and I'm pretty sure the vast majority have been recovered. Okay, but handguns, I would say this was about every handgun they had in the store.
And then, aside from figuring out that you had the Cash App transaction that failed, as well as presuming in-person surveillance by law enforcement, what other means were investigators able to monitor these two and get more evidence as, again, you guys were monitoring them?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see it all spelled out in the complaint. Certainly, you know, one of the very early steps was you know, pursuing the lead from Cash App, being able to verify, cross-checking phone numbers, and being able to figure out that the phone number for this person was aligned with the phone number of somebody with the same name on Cash App. You know, that allowed authorities to be able to identify an address. It allowed for physical surveillance, all the time cross-checking other, you know, federal databases that were available, eventually executing search warrants, being able to get inside the vehicles, being able to get inside the residencies. Those were the primary steps in terms of the investigation.
Were the tags still on the coolers? Were they taken from the Dunhams as well?
Yes, the coolers were both taken from the Dunham Sports Store.
And if these two men are convicted on all 4 counts, what's the maximum sentence they could get?
So it's difficult to tell at this point. You know, we are charging both of them with Hobbs Act robbery. The maximum term of imprisonment on that charge is 20 years. The felon in possession and brandishing a weapon has a mandatory minimum of 7 years, which is consecutive, meaning it gets added on to whatever other sentence might be issued for other charges where there's a conviction in this case. So it really is quite difficult to know where we will end up, but these are very, very serious charges. You know, I can just say in terms of next steps that these two defendants are now in federal custody. I anticipate, it's not been scheduled yet, but I anticipate either later today or tomorrow they will have their initial appearance in federal court. We have charged these defendants by criminal complaint through ATF. They all have a right under the U.S. Constitution to be indicted by grand jury, so that we have 30 days to do that. So at some point in the next month, there will be an indictment that will come down, and that'll be the next significant step is that indictment when it comes down.
Federal court in Grand Rapids?
That's right, federal court in Grand Rapids.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Thank you,
All
everybody.
right, thank you.
I do have copies of the complaint. It'll have additional information. So.
So cool to see it come over. Yeah. That's what I see.
Hey, how you doing? Jimmy?
Meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
You met our new assistant?
Okay.
We'll have to hopefully set something up for you guys to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we have a new ASAP coming in.
Oh, good.
Where's she coming from?
I will.
I'm trying to rush her to come in. She's from headquarters.
Oh, nice.
It's like called her. I'm like, so.
She from here?
Chief, as always.
Not many people not from the Michigan that are from here. Chief, how are you? Good. It's good to see you. You guys. Yeah.